Welcome. I'm Steve Davis, and this is another edition of the Roundtable, a community service program brought to you here courtesy of Jefferson County College, Community College here, JCTV. Our program today is mass transit on a minor league level. I guess with me today we have Tracy Smith, who is the Executive Director of the Jefferson County Community Partnership.
Yes.
Welcome, Tracy. Glad to have you here. And alongside her is Dennis Murphy, who is the Community Coordinator for the partnership, correct?
Yes, sir.
Jefferson County Transportation, or Jeffco Express. Mass transit, and from the shows before, I'm a big fan, a big supporter of public transportation, mass transportation, anything to assist individuals and maybe get some cars off the road. And you're the foundation, the start, the beginning of hopefully what's going to be the future here in the county. So tell me, how did this idea of, first I guess start, what is Jeffco Express and how did we come up with this concept?
You want me to take that?
If you want.
Jeffco Express has really been a culmination of a lot of years of hard work, a lot of different stakeholders in the community that have really tried to address that issue of providing some type of transportation for the community. And Dennis joined us about 2 years ago, and he came on kind of midpoint along the way there, and he really stepped in at a really nice time because kind of came in when a lot of the groundwork had already been laid, but then a lot of the really tough getting it off the starting line happened.
Back in 2007, the Missouri Planning Council for Developmental Disabilities had put out a call for investment on a grant process they were doing to establish rural transportation systems. And so the Jefferson County Resource Board had approached the partnership about being a collaborative partner in applying for this grant. What they wanted was a neutral agency to actually write the grant. At that time, our development person was Teresa Barnhart, so she wrote the grant, and it was submitted in July, and then actually the turnaround on it was pretty fast. It was approved August 7th.
Wow.
And it came in two phases. There was a $25,000 phase for planning, and then there was a $50,000 phase for implementation. And so like Tracy said, the Transportation Advisory Committee is formed of the JCDDRB, Mid-East Area Agency on Aging, JC Transit, OATS. Back then, Bear Transportation was one of the original partners, the hospital, Jefferson Regional Medical Center, the college, Linda Bigelow and Julie Hampton have been very helpful in doing a lot of the prep work and helping support us in a lot of different ways. And I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody because there was about 12, 14, 16 different agencies. The different cities, I approached the different cities, Festus, Hillsborough, Arnold, DeSoto. And
this was all for the purpose of providing public transportation here in the county.
Yes.
So a lot of planning went into it.
A lot of planning. Now, you mentioned a lot of the agencies, of course, that got started, the disability. So this Jeffco Express, though, is not just for individuals with disabilities.
Correct.
This is for the entire county, public-wide.
Even though Missouri Planning Council was the one that gave the seed money, they knew that in order for a transportation system to be viable, it had to be for the entire public. Right. So that was one of the parameters of the grant. And so that's one of the things that we've been working from the very get-go. If you look at the statistics, the population is about 10 to 15% disability, people who could be classified as disabled. And then, right now with the ridership we have, that's about the percentage of people who are using the bus, and the other is just general transportation and seniors.
Now, as usual with my program, we jump over everywhere. We never really have a good spot. But you threw out the words viable. Now, for those of us who actually, like I said, are interested in mass transit and follow what's going north of the county with Bi-State and Metrolink, define viability here in Jefferson County, especially financially. You got a grant to get us going. How do we maintain Jeffco Express?
Well, it's really through several different ways because the grants that we currently have now, they are some federal grants that have helped to supplement the original grants. And then as we move forward, it will really be a variety of funding streams, everything from, we'll continue to apply for grants, of course. We're looking at options where the different communities to help support it a little bit as well. Plus the sale of passes and the fares from people getting on the bus. We've also done the sale of some advertisements on the bus. So when you see the bus rolling down the road, you're going to see different names of businesses or organizations on the side, and that's all part of the plan to make sure that the system is viable. We have to have different funding streams to keep it going.
As like in the north, usually public transportation is subsidized by government, which means that evil word, subsidized by the taxpayers, which of course some people have objections to paying taxes for services that other individuals would use. In your plan, I mean, how much are you going to rely on the cities to contribute to keep us going? Because I got a feeling federal and state grants are going to be drying up awfully quick.
Well, as far as like you mentioned the word taxes, I never really figured that was an option. Even though we did a survey that 85% of people said they'd be willing to pay an additional sales tax to sponsor public transportation. If I was to go into any one of our city managers or mayors and you mentioned that word, I think they would have a heart attack. So I've stayed away from all of that. But they can find different ways, pieces of their pie that they can cut out a small portion to provide some funds to help make it happen. Like in the case of the city of Arnold, you know, to give a bus that would be just for the city of Arnold, it was a vehicle cost $50,000, so 20% cash match was $10,000. So I said for $10,000 we could buy a bus and designate it specifically for the city of Arnold. And you would figure a city the size of Arnold, 10,000 probably shouldn't be that big a problem. But then there's the operating costs. So
right.
That was about $30,000 to $35,000 additional on top of that. Well, Randy Chrysler, who is the councilman for Ward 1, he really, I had met him at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and he really felt very passionate about making it happen. So at the time, he was the speaker pro tem or whatever, the council. And so he got me a forum pretty quickly, and the city passed a resolution to do that so that I could apply for a federal grant. Now, part of the deal was, though, we understand economic times, and if you can't come up with it, you know, we can put that on hold for a while. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We have a new mayor and several new city councilmen, and so what we've gotten from the city thus far is that about the earliest they can consider pitching in the stuff that they thought would be, say, in the fall budget cycle. And what they were looking at is the sales tax generated from the commons and several of the other new businesses. They should be able to take a portion of that and set it off to the side. So
do you have another bus in line? I mean, are buses out there available that we can just buy, a new, used? What do we get?
Well, at the same time that particular grant was happening, just this, I guess it was last summer, we had applied again for some additional grants and were awarded some funding, which actually was the funding to help us to start operating. And then it also allowed for funding for the purchase of additional buses. So we're in the planning phases of what will that expansion look like. The committees that met just recently talked, and we had agreed to order 2 additional buses to hopefully cut down on the route times and hopefully to start expanding to some different areas depending on how quickly use for the system builds up.
Well, and I'm looking at Jefferson County, and it's a great concept. Get people from one area so they can what is the primary use, I guess, of the bus? Why are the people riding it?
The Transportation Advisory Committee, which was a committee that was put together by the county itself several years back, had done a pretty major survey that we used very instrumentally in planning. That was in 2005. And the main purposes that people listed was for employment, retail shopping, recreation and, no, I'm sorry, education and
Medical. I think that's
medical.
the one.
And so if you look at the route as it's constructed now, it starts at DeSoto City Hall, goes to the Great Minds Health Clinic there in DeSoto, goes out to DeSoto Walmart, which is major shopping destination, major employer.
Right.
And you come right on down to the government centers here at the admin building in Hillsborough, the corner where the court building, the sheriff's building, health department, go across the street to the city hall, come down here to the college. We're getting ready to add a second stop here at the college. It'd be the student housing. And then it cuts over to Festus, Walmart, another major employer, another shopping destination. Then over to the hospital, obvious medical.
Largest employer.
Hops on 55 and goes on down to Arnold Walmart, over across to Arnold Commons, down to Comtree and the health department, adult vocational services, that's all in the same spot. Cuts across the street to the Arnold campus of the college and the Arnold Rec Center library complex. Hops back on 55 and comes back and does it in reverse.
So, but as a primary, you're finding the ridership is not the whole length of the county. It's not people going from DeSoto to Arnold or Arnold that are there, but general area at DeSoto, maybe to the Walmart, Festus around the hospital area there.
Actually, we have a gentleman in Hillsborough that goes 3 days a week to the Arnold Rec Center.
Oh,
Senior gentleman, he buys a bus pass and he rides it 3 days a week. We have people that ride it from Arnold out to Hillsborough, to the government center, they pay taxes.
nothing against my wonderful friends up in Arnold, but to that senior who rides it, the Y is right across the street in the Festus. He can shorten his trip.
Well, and one of the things that the planning, the expansion committee is looking at is when we're able to add more buses, we will hopefully be able to add more stops as well. And so we're considering a lot of different places, like a stop closer to the Y, you know, a stop maybe on the other side of the highway. So there's all kinds of things to consider in the planning process.
Can I give you a suggestion for one stop that might actually be beneficial? Have you ever thought of Butler Hill or so that someone could hit a bi-state bus and then continue on in their transportation?
There is a program, a really good program here in Jefferson County called Shop Jefferson County.
Well,
And so we've been kind of keeping it, especially if we're looking to get dollars from the county and dollars from the cities. They don't look real kindly to going outside.
But in all fairness, I will say that the original route, and this is, like I said, the planning has taken a long time, but originally in the planning process, the bus coming up from DeSoto, the first stop in the morning, and I think some of the last stops in the evening, were supposed to connect with the Metro bus that stops at the Vogel
yes.
connection. And then in the midst of that whole great plan that we had laid out, funding was pulled from Metro,
And they cut the
Yes.
stop.
and they cut the stop out, and then funding came back. So at this time, at this moment in time, we don't connect with that, but we believe that that's definitely an option in the future that we're looking at, especially for those early morning and afternoon.
Part of Metro's long-range plan, what they shared with me was a hub along South Lindbergh, somewhere in South County. And whenever they get around to doing that, then we'll be advanced enough that we will have a run that connects with that hub where they can then make
Go
it to
from
other
there.
places. Because the commuter lot, that's a very narrow window, you know, and for us to
time.
expand just to connect to that window isn't really feasible. But if they had a hub that worked all day long, you know, like I did a town hall here in DeSoto, and there were some vets that said, you know, how can we get to the VA hospital? And I said, well, we'll never be able to get you to Cochrane, but if we ever get that connection to Lindbergh, we could get you to VA. You know, we get you up to the Lindbergh bus. Metro takes you on over to VA. So it's just, when you start out with just having $75,000 that uses seed money to another $350, you only have one bus. You got to get the best bang for your dollar for that launch.
How's the bus holding up? I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear. I mean, I'd hate to be going, if I'm in DeSoto getting picked up and dropped off in Arnold, only to find out after I'm dropped off that your bus goes down and I'm left stranded.
Well, we have plans for that in
We
case
have
that would happen.
backup capability.
We have in the plans that were laid out. Like you said, backup capabilities. If that would ever happen, they have another one
So
that's
how
ready
many
to fill
seats,
in.
how many people can you hold on your bus?
The bus will hold 16 what we call ambulatory passengers, you know, people who can just ride without assistance, and then there's 2 wheelchair positions. So it'll hold a total of 18. And it has to be smaller because one of the key things we've kind of really missed here is it's a deviated route service. It's not your traditional fixed route.
Right.
So this is where the disabilities portion comes in. Someone with a disability that we kind of pre-certify, they give us 48 hours notice. As long as they live within a 1 mile radius of the stop, the bus will actually deviate out and pick them up at the curb of their home. And as long as their destination is within a 1 mile radius, we'll go take them there as well. So that's gotta, because if you have just a plain fixed route, you have to offer complimentary paratransit.
Right.
And we don't have that ability.
Any thought about maybe expanding the deviation? I mean, 1 mile is great, but it's such a narrow.
Well, actually, 1 mile is already exceeding ADA standards.
Right.
That's,
Right.
that's part of the condition of the grant, to New Freedom 5317. To get that, you have to exceed ADA standards. So like our lift, ADA standards is a 600-pound lift. Ours is an 800-pound lift. Deviated route is 3/4 of a mile. We go a mile. Now, we fudge a little bit if it's 1.1 or 1.2. But by the time you add, say, somebody 2 miles out, you're really messing up
Yeah,
your time
your
schedule.
time's-
That's well,
Yeah.
yeah, you get the schedule
Yeah.
on that.
And the other thing I would think too is as we hopefully progress forward and add additional routes, that would open up more area to be available to that deviation as well.
Well, it's interesting. Let's talk about how's the ridership. I mean, how long have you been operating now? About-
November 30th.
Yes,
Right.
since November.
So we're almost got that 5 months. Well, 5 months coming up and almost a half year. How's ridership been? Seeing the changes, the growth? You happy, pleased with your projections?
Oh, well, we'd love to have the bus full all the time, and we worried initially. We thought, well, we'll either have 2 problems. We'll either have not enough, or the bus will be so full that we'll have to, hang people off the side. But so we joked about that a little bit. But we started off at the end of November, going into a very cold December and a very cold January. And we did that for two reasons. Well, we were anxious to get the service started, for one. And also, we thought this will give us kind of some out-of-the-box time where we take off and work out any kinks that might happen. And then I think with spring, the warmer weather has really helped. And so you may elaborate a little more on the ridership lately.
The December month was about 85 rides for that month, and then January, when that the cold spell hit, it dropped down to 40 for the month. But then February bounced up to like 120. March is tracking about 120, maybe a little more when the seniors ride free week next week happens. We had a lot of seniors at the Senior Expo here at the college this morning. Issued about a dozen senior ID cards today. Gave out a lot of deviated route applications, and a lot of people are very interested in riding. So
I think the key is just keeping the exposure out there. More and more people are finding out about it all the time. We get calls at the office. I think as it continues to grow and as the word about it continues to grow, I think we'll just continue to see more and more ridership.
Question, in an urban setting, of course, environment, you walk or commute lots. Where are your stops? I mean, if you stops, how does someone get from their home to the stop generally? Are we driving there and parking a car, which I guess is one issue, or do the people say, "Oh, just keep on driving"? I mean, how do we get onto the bus?
it's a variety of people. Like we have the deviated route people that are getting picked up. We do have some that drive to a location and pick it up, especially if you got somebody that's like lives in DeSoto and works in Arnold, and we do have a gentleman that does that. He'll go to DeSoto, pick it up, drive in, rather than pay the $3 a gallon almost to go to work. In fact, he told us today that he's going to start bringing his bike. We have bike racks on the front, and so he works about 2 miles from the Arnold Walmart. So apparently he was the talk of the office because he's going to start doing this on a regular basis now that the weather's nicer. So those are kinds of options. People can ride their bike to the bus stop. We have a bike rack that'll hold 2 bikes at a time.
Now, you mentioned DeSoto Walmart and obviously the Arnold Walmart and Fest as well. Do the Walmarts object to people parking their cars there? Let's say the commuter leaves my car at Walmart, hop on the bus, ride, go to work, come back home.
Not to this point, no.
No,
I mean, we talked. We obviously cleared all this with them when we established the route. So yeah, there's been no objection. Now I would imagine if all of a sudden you got 60 cars parking in the lot, that might create a problem.
If you get 60 cars and you're putting on the bus, I think the sheriff's department might have a bigger problem with your.
Right.
That's
With
right.
the service, right.
Yeah.
But, you know, that could happen once you start adding more buses on the route, you know.
And so
But,
those will all be things that in the planning process that you have to consider, you know.
See, it's a culture change for Jefferson
It
County.
really
They're not
is.
used to having public transportation available to them, you know. And because people live so far out, like my wife commutes all the way to St. John's Hospital, so bus service for her is totally out of question. But just the fact that it's even available is a new thing. Getting to the thing where you're going to shift. You know, I heard those conversations today, like the husband says, let's start riding a bus, and the wife's going, why? You know, we got a car. He goes, we'll save money on gas, you know. So it's a whole culture change and a mind shift that's going to have to happen. And then improving the access that, you know, the question you brought, how do people get to the stops? You know, one of the things we hope to do is start having where the routes would have, like, just like in a metro system, where they'll have stop signs that look a lot like this right here.
Oh, yes.
Yes, this is the this is a good pickup place. You see these at the Walmart. They're on poles and things like that. But we hope to have signs like this along the road and say, like in a neighborhood. The Arnold route that I put together actually starts down there off of is it Timbrook or Starling? Which Starling is the first one.
Starling is the closest to the county
Goes
line.
down there and goes right past all those mobile home parks and the residences, and the stop signs will be on the street right there, so people in those neighborhoods and the mobile home parks come right out to the street, catch the bus, and it'll take them all throughout Arnold.
Now, if I'm on, let's say I'm on the route, will the bus stop and pick me up if I don't want, you know, say I'm on your route, but you drive right by, but I don't want to drive the 2 miles this way or the 3 miles that way? We don't have pickup. I mean, that's not deviation. I'm right there with my sign. I'll even pay for my own bus stop sign.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to clear all those things with the cities, and for them it's a safety issue. Like when I was negotiating with DeSoto for stops, I had the city planners, I had the police department, I had, you know, David Deuce, city manager, and, you know, taking into account, like, if that curb is there a handicap cut in that curb? How about snow removal? You know, all those are all factors that
You have to
you
kind
don't
of
really
have to
think
consider.
about.
No.
Yeah.
You know, which are all good factors, you know, because I'm just like you. Let's stop the bus, pick them up, and hop on. So you have to take all those into account.
Well, wonderful. Well, with me today again is Tracy Smith, the Executive Director, and Dennis Murphy, our Community Coordinator of the Jefferson County Community Partnership. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back and talk maybe a little bit more about the partnership and what plans you have for the future of the partnership, and along with the Jeffco Express. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
The teacher's doors are always open.
Faculty commitment.
What I like the best is just the overall enthusiasm that the teachers have.
The faculty understands our students.
Jefferson College has a very comprehensive education.
Just being part of Jefferson College is like my second family.
Top quality education.
I'm Rachel Schrage.
I'm Jose Soloria.
I'm Della Selman.
I'm Shayna Payton, and I discovered my future at Jefferson College.
Well, we're back here discussing Jefferson County Public Transportation, or Jeffco Express, which has been greatly appreciated by a lot of the citizens out here, and it's being promoted, sponsored, however we want to phrase it, by the Jefferson County Community Partnership. So I guess on behalf of all the people that ride this bus, I want to thank you, because I know it is a start to hopefully what could become regular public transportation here in the county. Maybe get, in fact, have you ever thought about, I know they wouldn't like it out in the southern part here, but calling the highway department up and say, don't build this ramp on Highway M, or don't expend 3 lanes down the fences. Just give us the money so we can put public transportation out there. And with that money, let's talk a little bit about what does it cost to ride Jeffco Express, and what are the various ways to pay for it, and or maybe discounts that we can acquire. So what's the cost to hop on your bus?
Regular customers just pay $2 each way. You know, each ride is $2. We have a discount for seniors 65 and over and people with disabilities. They only pay $1, but that's if they get to a stop. If we have to do the deviation, then they have to pay the full $2. But even then, it's a real bargain. They can buy passes at various locations. Here at the college cashier's office, they can buy passes there. Jefferson Regional Medical Center gift shop, Festus City Hall, Hillsborough City Hall, DeSoto City Hall, First Bank in Arnold, the 2 locations down there.
Wait a minute, not Arnold City Hall?
Yes, Arnold
Okay,
City Hall
okay,
as
I was
well.
gonna say, make sure Arnold's on the board here.
Arnold's on the board. It's like when you start rattling off 8, 9
Sure.
locations, you kind of lose track.
Forget 1 or 2.
Now, we've talked about,
Or online,
I was gonna ask you about that.
jeffcoexpress.org.
Okay. I've heard you mention Soto, Hillsborough, Festus, Arnold. We're slighting our brothers and sisters on the western part of the county. So what's our plans to incorporate the wonderful folks who live out in the Highway 30 corridor?
We certainly haven't forgotten about them. As a matter of fact, we have a couple of, our board of directors has a couple of folks that live out on that corridor, and they will make sure that we don't forget them. But they are definitely in our plans.
Yeah, the Highway 30 corridor, again, it goes back to how much money you have to, so we had to do that first route. But I've been attending Northwest Chamber meetings. I talked about, I've tried to drive that, and like, how do I make this it's that accessibility thing, you know. Running up down Highway 30 is no problem, it's getting people on it. So the superintendent of schools, Northwest School District, said he's going to be able to put me in touch with their transportation director for buses that would be able to show me where the transportation centers are. When I complained about trying to get a bus through there, the fire department chief said, we can help you with that. Because I said, well, that'd be good because we can't tow vehicles that are in the way like you can, you know.
Well, and I know our wonderful county executives and our county commissioners would all, you know, probably throw something at me when I make this next statement. But I got a natural bus route for you, of course. That's that Highway 30 that stops at that other people's place across the line, that Gravois Bluffs. I mean, I know we want to shop Jefferson County, but I'm thinking, boy, if you want transportation, the Bluffs is a development that I'm certain a few people might visit.
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely have had those discussions ourselves about the natural flow of traffic along that corridor and where it tends to congregate at the north end of that. And so we're definitely conscious of the decisions that we make and trying to keep tax revenue in our own community. But we do know that eventually when we grow and that, you know, that there will be some type of plan that we'll have to consider, if nothing else, at least linking with, also that's, I'm not sure if it's currently still a metro stop, but there are metro stops in that area. So those are definitely all things that we're considering in the planning process. I think first and foremost is just, you know, getting those folks access to a transportation system.
And hopefully, like I said, they'll get used to it. Hopefully, I mean, of course, right now, people ride it. We got new buses, clean buses. This is an opportunity to get aboard on and get a feel for public transportation.
See, and, the county was very supportive. Chuck Banks and Pat Lamping and Ed Kemp have all been very supportive in a number of different ways. And they passed an ordinance that's similar to the ordinances that Metro uses to regulate conduct on the bus, to keep them clean and smoke-free and all those types of things. So they've been very helpful in that regard. And so far it's been real well received.
Well, that's wonderful. We've been talking for the last half hour or so about the transportation, and it's an important part, but it's not the only part of your partnership. So I guess let me give you an opportunity for a free plug here to talk a little bit about the Jefferson County Community Partnership. What other services do you provide, and the purpose? How did the Community Partnership get established?
Well, actually, the Community Partnership is a nonprofit organization. We were established by a group of community stakeholders who were just really concerned about our community and about the different concerns or needs that the community might have, and so they felt they came together, and they felt that there was a way that they could enrich the community by having different groups work together. And so we were established, like I said, in '94, and we became a community partnership back in '96, and I've been at the partnership for 12 years. And we've got actually a variety of programs, everything from classes for new parents that teach them about sudden infant death syndrome and shaken baby syndrome, all in an effort to prevent child abuse and neglect, all the way up to programs that work with the senior and disabled population. Actually, Dennis is the coordinator for a couple of those programs. If you want to plug your program.
Hammers of Hope and Rebuilding Together. We are the Jefferson County coordinators of actually a national program, a regional program called Rebuilding Together St. Louis. And they do home repairs and modifications for low-income seniors, people with disabilities throughout the St. Louis area. And May 1st will be my third rebuilding day. And Rebuilding Together St. Louis will actually do 110 to 120 homes all in one day, using an army of about 2,000 volunteers across the greater St. Louis area, St. Louis County, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, Franklin County. And so that was one of the partnerships they approached us for. So I coordinate those, and so I'm accepting applications for volunteers for that May 1st day.
Oh, let me just stop and interrupt you. Give a plug. How would they contact you? How can someone get a hold of you if they want to volunteer for this remodeling or building program for you?
They can use the website, which is www.jccp.org, and they can actually volunteer for any of our programs on the website, or they can call me at 636-464-5144, extension 15, to talk to me directly. And Hammers of Hope was a program that came out of that relationship, and that deals primarily with building accessibility ramps for people with disabilities. And that's a partnership between Disability Resource Association and the partnership. And we either built or bought portable ramps and done home modifications for probably over 40 different families now.
So if we got all of those wonderful carpenters, electricians, and tradesmen who might be having a little slow time right now before we get the spring, summer buildup, this is a way for them to keep their skills intact and
Very much so.
volunteer and
Give back to the
give
community.
back.
We have 51 people on a waiting list that need a ramp. That's a lot of people. And some of these people, because of a lack of funding and volunteers in the past, have been on that list for 2 to 3 years. So we're constantly trying to update that. Jimmy Darr, who is a Disability Resource Association, my counterpart, he does a lot of the intakes, and he's trying to update that list. We fund it through grants and donations. We had Windsor Library just did a fantastic fundraiser for us. $180 check they presented us.
Wonderful.
And they did that by simply paying to wear blue jeans on Friday to wear blue jeans to
kids
work.
at school, yeah, or the faculty.
Yes, the staff of
know,
the library.
We have different corporations. In fact, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. Industrial arts teacher at Fox School, he is going to make it part of his curriculum. He teaches the kids how to build things, and now he's going to use them to come out and build a ramp for us.
Excellent, and I'm certain here at the college we have a trades program. Now, part of maybe their final exam, they say, well, you've learned all
would be
this.
awesome.
Let's see how
Let's
it works.
put it to real
That's
use, yeah.
it. Well, I want to thank the both of you for taking the time out of your day to come here and be on this program. And hopefully we can boost the transportation in this county, maybe even get you some volunteers and or donations. I always say, well, if you can't help out, I've never asked them this, but I'm willing to bet they would be more than happy to take a donation. And obviously you're a tax-exempt organization.
That's
so
correct.
You can give plenty of the money. And if people need to find out about the transportation online or buy it, jeffcoexpress.org.
Correct.
www.jeffcoexpress.org. And with that, I bet you probably also have your schedule online.
Absolutely.
So someone can get online and get a copy of your schedule. Give it an opportunity. Give it a chance if you're, I guess it's really those for people who are not in a hurry and maybe not have a dedicated site, but give it an opportunity. I know for $4, that's, you know, nowadays just a little more than a gallon and a half, and
Well, for like the student housing, they'll use it to go to Festus to go shopping and then come back to the housing. They're gonna, the RAs and the campus housing director are going to ride the bus, and then they're gonna promote it on all the bulletin boards in the housing units and sell bus passes and things like that.
so let's see, if we got them 6:20, what's the, I guess I'm thinking of college now for the movies. We could have movie night. The bus will pick the kids up here at the college, take them over the Festus to the movies,
Yeah,
just bring them. See, there's just
could
so
drop
many
it right by B&B, yeah.
That's right. Just so many opportunities here for public transportation. Well, I wish you the best and hope that this is just a start, and maybe we'll come back in a couple years and talk about all the advancements we've made.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Tracy,
Steve.
Thank
Dennis,
you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank
And
you.
again, this was the roundtable, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.